Oh, excuse me. All right, everybody, welcome back to This is the Country Called Us. Don't really see anybody. There's a couple people here now. Okay, cool. Tonight we are going to talk about some solar. I know a lot of you are iffy on it. Some people know something about it, some people don't know about it. But you're going to see me on my iPad because there's a lot of information, and I want to make sure that I get the most correct information out to you. I pinned a comment I pinned a comment in the box there for everybody. It's a thing where you can go and it's got the whole diagram, not diagram, but it's a beginner's guide. Hey, Carly, thanks for stopping by, baby. It's a beginner's guide, reference guide. If you want to go click on that and look up some of the things that I'm saying after the fact, and I'll post in the description after the live. I didn't get it in there yet. But yeah, let me see. So I'm getting a text message coming through. My son went to go get a pumpkin, guys. This is what he did with it. He buckled it into the car, so it didn't smash on the way home. Sorry about that, but he's a little out there. Okay, what? Oh, sorry about that. My son, Jackson, Action Jackson. Where's Ian at? Boy, you hand out candy. You can be watching my live. Carly's here and she's working. Jackson and Tina are on their way home from Walmart because he's buckling, pumpkins into the back seat. Everybody say hi once you get in here. Let us know you're here. If everybody could drop a thumbs up and on the live for me, it helps a lot. Makes us look good at least. You know what I mean? Got to have my coffee. Coffee. Got the iPad here ready to go. Something went wrong. Oh, there we go. I had to reset it. It went live once and then I had to reset it. It's being goofy. We are at 77 subscribers, y'all. We're getting there. Appreciate all you guys' support every week. It's really wonderful. Makes us feel good. May not be that good, but it still makes us feel good, Get all these people texting. Let me get where's this one at? Waiting on one more person. She might be working through 11 like that. My daughter's started a new job. It has different shifts. So I messaged her girlfriend. Sierra, you better get on, Sierra. Get on TV. All right, guys. Like I said, so tonight we're going to get into a little bit of solar, which is, like I said, it's a deep topic. It stretches, as deep as it's a rabbit hole. Let me tell you. We're going to cover AC and DC power, why the system voltage matters, 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, PWM versus MPPT charge controllers, which one is best for your system, battery types, lead acid, AGM, LiFePO₄, and budgeting tips, inverters, pure sine wave versus modified sine wave, safety essentials, inline fuses, disconnect switches, proper wire gauges with chart, hybrid solar plus generator setups for backup power, step-by-step system sizing examples for real-life appliances, Whether you're powering a tent, tiny cabin, or a full homestead, this guide makes solar simple and practical. So, and again, like I said, there'll be a link in the description. There's a link in the chat box for what's up, Ian? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. There'll be a link. We're covering solar tonight, buddy. You might want to learn this in that little house of yours. Appreciate it, buddy. But like I said, there's a link, pin comment in the chat. I'll put the same link in the description after the video here. You can go through. It's a beginner's reference guide to solar. Let me find my AI bot to help me here. No. Where'd it go? There we go. Okay. It wasn't there for me. It had me scared. Okay. So we'll start off with the same thing that's going to be in the reference guide is what you're going to see. What I'm going to be referencing from is actually the reference guide itself. You know what I mean? That's just on my tablet here, or no, excuse me, not tablet, it's iPad. I apologize, all you Apple people. Please don't hate me. Can I get everybody to drop a thumbs up? It helps us a lot. Hey, Jason, what's up, buddy? How you doing? So number one, first thing you have to know about solar is AC versus DC, and why the voltage matters. There is a big difference between AC and DC, and a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, you may realize the difference between. I know there's a difference between AC and DC, but what the difference is and whatnot. And Trish, did you get your little page up? Are you talking to somebody?
Yeah.
Trish is gonna have some talking points, a little bit on some of the things that I have to say. So guys, be nice to us.
Be nice to me. It's been a long time since I've been in school. And I learned this stuff, and it's been a while.
But we'll start off with the AC versus DC and why voltage matters. Again, DC is direct current. Obviously, right? We all know that, right? Oh, hi, Lisa. I didn't see you come in. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry, I didn't see you come in.
Well, it's because we were too busy talking back and forth.
Right.
So, I didn't even see.
I'm nervous about this one, guys. So that's why, if I miss somebody, I apologize. This one's a big one for me. So DC, again, is direct current. Flows in one direction. Is used by solar panels and batteries. Common voltages is 12 volt, 24 volt, and 48 volt. Now, when you're building a solar backup, or you live off solar, off grid, or you want to add solar to your house or homestead or off grid, you need to know the difference between 12 volt, 24 volt, and 48 volt. As it gets bigger, certain go from 12 volt to 24 volt to 48 volt. Certain things happen, and certain ones are better for certain situations. And there's a lot to it. Like I said, been going AC/DC thunder. Yeah, Carly, I hear you. But you have to know the differences and which ones you want and which one works best for you. And it's budget-wise, there's a lot of budget things out there that you can use to make an off-grid solar. You can add to your solar at your house to offset your electric bill. You can run it right into your fuse box. And you can use it for power outages. You can use it to, again, offset electricity bills. I know some people that just have one room built off of solar, chargers and controllers, and batteries. I know some people have a couple rooms, some of your bigger draw items, DC items. Obviously, again, solar is DC, and then we'll get into that. But it converts. You can convert it into AC through certain ways. But AC is alternating current, which is the current that you have in your normal household plugs. when you plug in something that's AC current. You can't get up here right now. Come on. Odin got to be part of the family. Lay down. There you go. AC is where you know, when you plug in your lamp in your house and you turn it on, you're getting an AC current. You know, um, the difference between AC and DC, like I said, DC flows in one direction, AC alternates direction many times per second. So it goes back and forth many times a second. It's used by household devices, lights, fridge, and outlets. It requires an inverter to convert from DC to AC. Okay, so we'll get into inverters here in a couple minutes, because that's another rabbit hole you can get yourself into.
I can do the difference between 12.
Go ahead.
Okay, so your 12 volt, versus your 24 versus your 48 volts. 12 volts is best used for small loads, such as, lights, TVs, things like that. Your 24 volts would be like your larger, your larger capacity, which is like, off grid or like an RV solar system. 12 volts uses less current, but it's not as effective as 24. And then like your 48 volts is for like your off-grid systems, like for your off-grid homes, and where you're going to need more power, because you don't have electricity.
Sorry guys, I'm watching my dog. He's being crazy over here.
Where you don't have electricity and what have you. So, your 48 volt systems would be for like your off-gridding, and so that you can hook up all your stuff. But with that, you're going to need like your AC to DC converters to convert it to household, your household appliances and stuff like that.
And that's where, we'll learn in here that's where your money comes in at. The higher the voltage equals less current for same power, smaller wires, less heat, more efficiency. So that's when you get into your wires and you get into the voltage differences, and what you can run through a 12 volt, what you can run through a 48 volt, what you run through certain size wires and all that. That's when you start coming into some money. But it's all relevant. I mean, like I said, 12 volt sounds like, you'll learn here, sounds cheaper, but you can only run smaller appliances off, like she's saying.
And 12 and 24 volts, you can buy, like, you can go on like Amazon and what have you, and you can get them. Your 48 volt is harder to come by, because there are fewer appliances to run at 48 volts. But like your 12 and 24 volt systems, like you can buy, Amazon, Walmart, Lowe's, stuff like that. But the 48 volt is harder to come by because it's bigger and it has more capacity for a lot more things.
Right.
So, I mean, this is how I look at it. If you would need a 48 volt system, just think of it as your breaker box in your house to run everything that you need in your house. You would need all that power. So you would need, hence I said, it's harder to come by because, when you build a house, who installs your breaker box? A lot of times not you, the electric company does, or an electrician. So for you to do it, it's a lot more, it's harder to come by.
It's more complicated. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know why I keep going back to the same page, but I'm going to show you a server rack battery here if I can find one that'll give me a good picture without being goofy. All right, let me go down here. Server rack batteries are a little different than you've probably all seen server rack batteries, but don't realize it. Because I know when server rack batteries are your 48 volt. This site's goofy. I'm trying to find one here that isn't going to be goofy. Let me just go to Amazon. Because I know, server rack batteries are your 48 volt. And those are the ones that are more hard to come by because you have to order them. They're expensive. They sound expensive. And I mean, technically they are expensive, but you can power your whole house off of them. Okay. This is let's see, get a good picture of it. This here is a server rack battery. Okay. I'm trying to get it out of the lamp right there. That's a battery. You know what I mean? It's not like, it doesn't look like the one that goes in your car or whatever, because that's a server rack battery. And then you also have your 12 and 24 volt batteries. Okay. Look like, depending on what you get, you can get the LiFePO₄, which are now is the best. Now, back years ago, LiFePO₄ batteries used to be stupid expensive. You were looking in the thousands of dollars for a LiFePO₄ battery. That's AGM. I don't want AGM. And now they've come down big time. Okay, this is a LiFePO₄ battery, lithium phosphate. Looks like a car battery, but it's not. And then obviously, anybody that just drove in a car or knows anything about it, you have your lead acid AGM. It looks like the LiFePO₄ batteries. AC is friend. AC is our friend. DC is meanies. Yeah, at least I see that. But the difference is with the server rack batteries, you can run a whole house. Well, to 48 volt, right? That's what you were saying.
Yes.
Like when we start out, we'll probably start off with a 24 volt setup. I mean, hell, there's videos online now where they're setting up these setups on hand trucks, on what do you call them things? A hand dolly. What do you call that? You move stuff. I can't think of a hand cart or hand truck.
Yeah.
What else is the name for it?
It's called a dolly.
Yeah, but you move furniture with, or TVs or refrigerators and stuff with.
Oh God, I can't.
We were just talking about that. You know what I mean?
Right before we came on.
Yeah, and I just lost the thought. I lost the
call it a dolly.
Yeah. What there's another name for it. I can't think of the name of it now. That's crazy. But I'll show you one of those here. Give me 2 seconds. 24. So up on whoops. Yeah, they're pretty neat. Oh, a hand truck. See, okay, you got let me log into that. I'm not. See if you guys look. It's a little blurred, but over here in the corner, it has the battery, the inverter, all in one, all together, right on the hand truck. You know what I mean? And it's pretty crazy because a lot of people, put them in their house or whatever, or you build a shed for it, which is probably better. But if you're going off grid and it's you're like we are right away, it's a quick, easy fix. You can move anywhere. You can get it closer to your panels. You can get it closer to everything you need. And like I said, Just it works better that way. But there's a lot to solar, and I can see a lot of people aren't really liking our solar video here, Trishy.
What's that?
We're not. Our solar video is not doing so hot today. I see, huh?
Yeah.
Solar videos are tough because there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, 12 volts, simple and cheap, easy to expand, small kits. 24 volts, more efficient, less voltage drop. 48 volts, very efficient for large system, less wire loss. The cons of 12 volt are voltage drop on long wires. The best uses for small cabins, RVs, tents. 24 volt, the con is slightly more expensive. Medium off grid systems. 48 volt is very efficient for large systems, less wire loss. The con is needs more planning, costlier components, and it'll run a full homestead and multiple appliances. So that's where that comes into to play. And like I said, always remember the rule of thumb with solar is higher voltage equals less current for the same power, smaller wires, less heat, and more efficiency. Again, that's where it gets into play. Like I said, we'll talk about the wires and all that here in a minute. But the next step is PWM versus MPPT charge controllers. Now you need those. A charge controller is basically what you wire everything into. It controls the charge and tells where the charge to go. It is one of the brains. I'm not gonna say the brain, but it's one of the brains of a solar setup. And it's very needed, and it takes a lot to you don't have so much voltage in it. It regulates the voltage or current regulator, keeps batteries from overcharging. So anything you have coming in, it tells which batteries to charge, which batteries not to charge, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a big deal. Like I said, that's what I mean. Those are needed, and they're not real expensive. You know what I mean? Like I said, you might pay for a charge controller anywhere between $40, $80, maybe $100, which I say not real expensive, but some of the stuff that you can find in here and can be stupid expensive. But the difference between MPPT, and PWM is PWM is pulse width modulation, and MPPT is maximum power point tracking. So with PWM, your efficiency is only 70 to 80%. Okay. With the MPPT, your efficiency is 95 to 98%, which, PWM is a lower cost, but you're getting a lot more out of it. You know what I mean? Efficiency wise. And when it comes to ending solar, efficiency is the key. Efficiency is the key, because if you're getting all that power, but it's not being used efficiently, then what's the point of having that power? You know what I'm saying? The cost for the PWM is lower. The MPPT is a little higher. PWM's used for small, same voltage systems. So as long as everything you're running is 12 volt and they're low voltages and it's low watts, then PWM will work for you. You know what I mean? But MPPTs, they're used for all systems, especially large or mismatched panels. So if you have a 100-watt panel, 200-watt panel, 250-watt panel, you can use a MPPT to charge it with. The PWM, it works in ways where it switches panels on, off to match battery voltage. The MPPT, it adjusts the voltage and current for max panel output. So, for example, a 24-volt battery bank plus a 36-volt panel, MPPT extracts full power. A PWM wastes excess voltage, which you don't want. Like I said. Hey, y'all, we're all here. Jackson is carving his secret second pumpkin. Oh, Jackson and his pumpkins. I tell you what, I showed before you got there, Tina. I showed the live how he buckled his pumpkin in. He wanted to make sure he made it home safe. Tell him everybody said hi. Carly and Lisa and Jason and Ian come on. They all said hi. Yeah, but so like you want to, in my opinion, yeah, PWM controller is cheaper, but it's going to cost you more in power, which then in the end costs you more in the end, honestly. So you put out a PWM, it might cost you $30, $40. MPPT might cost you $40 to $80, maybe $100, but in the end, you're going to save because you're getting 95% of your power that you're bringing in. You know. Jackson says, hi, sissies and bro. He's silly. So, to me, the little bit that you spend on the MPPT charge controller is smarter because you're going to get better out of your batteries. You're going to get,
you're going to get way more
efficiency. And I mean, that's what you want. I mean, what do we all complain about now in our cars? The gas mileage, efficiency is bad. You know what I mean? So why would you buy something that you're not getting good efficiency in? You want your phone, you want your tablet, you want your lights, you want everything to be efficient, because the better, more efficient it is, the less it's going to cost you in the long run. But yeah, so that's that. And like I said, I'll show a setup here once we get past all this of how everything looks once you set it up. Now we're going to go into 3 with battery types. So you have lead acid, which is your regular car battery that, has cells that need filled not in time, usually when it gets old. Sometimes you have to fill them. AGM and LiFePO₄. Now, lead acid batteries is flooded. That's what they call them. They're flooded batteries. The pros are that it's cheap and it's proven. It's heavy, the cons are it's heavy, needs maintenance. It has a life cycle of 300 to 500 charges. And it can only be discharged. The depth of discharge, which how much you can discharge, is only 50%. So you can only use 50% of the power that battery has.
Without damaging it.
Without damaging the cells. And then if you damage a cell in it, you have to go in and remove the cell, and none of us know how to do that.
Or buy a new battery.
AGM, right. AGM batteries are maintenance-free. They have a lower usable capacity, and they're heavier. Their life cycle is 500 to 1,000, and they have a 60% depth of charge. So you can discharge them down to 60%. So you could only use 40% of the power. You know what I mean? Oh no, you can only use 60% of the power. You have to have 40% left over by when you charge them, or you'll damage them. Okay, now LiFePO₄, these are the batteries that the lithium iron phosphate. They're long life. They're 100.
Can you tell he's nervous?
No, I'm not nervous.
You can't tell he's nervous. No.
But the LiFePO₄ batteries, they're long life. They're lightweight, 100% usable. They're, like I said, there's a higher initial cost with them, but like I said, in the beginning and in the end, you'll see they have 3,000 to 5,000 plus life cycle, which means you can get 3,000 to 5,000 charges out of them. Oh, you got your pumpkin from Lowe's, and they're 80 to 100% efficient. So as you go down, they get more efficient as the price goes up. But like I said, it's worth. In the end, if you ask me, they're worth it. They're better technology. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you're budgeting, lead acid is cheaper up front, shorter life. You replace it every 2 to 3 years. LiFePO₄ is more expensive up front, but it'll last 10 plus years, and it's a better long-term investment. And when you talk about solar, there's nothing you're going to find that's going to be dirt cheap, because if you can find it dirt cheap, it probably ain't going to be worth it. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that,
No, see, I was always told growing up, if you're going to buy something, pay, that you need to last, pay the extra money for it in the beginning. This way you have it in the long run, because if you buy something that's cheap, then you're going to end up having to go and buy, to buy it again, because it's going to get broke, damaged, or not work.
Right, and that's one of those things. Listen, you don't want to be off
Nope.
grid and be in the middle of trying to get power. And come on, be in the middle of trying to get power and be like,
I gotta pee.
all right, we'll have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Be in the middle of needing power because obviously everything needs power. You're not going to get through there because the cord there.
Mm.
Everything
I didn't
needs
want to
power.
step in front of you.
Oh, that's all right. Everything needs power. You know what I mean? You're off grid. You don't have grid power. You know what I mean? So you go with something cheaper and you end up with no power because something happens. I mean, granted, there's always something can happen to any one of these. You know, you have faulty products, and so do your research. Do your research before you buy it.
And believe me, we've done a lot of research.
And believe me, we do a lot of research. We do a lot of research.
Well, Jeff does.
Well, yeah, I do, but then I filter shit on it, and everybody that needs to know in on it, and try to get everybody on the same page because I have more time than they do right now, and that's okay. I'm working overnights. She sleeps a lot, and me and Odin, we sit here and we watch our videos, and we get it all done. Come on, you come over now, Mom's not here. Come on up. Up. Say hi. Say hi, everybody. Look. Say hi. Say hi. Jackson's watching you. Look. Your buddy's on there. Look. Hey. Over here. Dummy. Big dummy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Come on. But, all right, guys. Sorry about that. My dog, he just needs attention from time to time. He's just one of those animals that just got to have attention or he goes nuts. I'm doing good. How are you, cutie? But yeah, so I know that was meant for Odin. I was being funny, by the way. Again, it's like I said, you're going to spend. If this is what you want to do, you're going to spend money on solar, but research. I can't say it enough. Research. Because the more you research, the more you find out. I know you was talking about the dog. That's all right. I know that I'm a cutie. It's okay. No one has to tell me. It's all right. I know. No one has to tell me. Believe me. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to spend a little bit of money, and But the thing with there's multiple ways to do this. Again, we'll get into that in the last couple of minutes of the video here, or the liveage. Because
sorry, guys, my butt was in the camera.
Yeah, nothing new. Lay down, go to bed. But it's going to cost. But you can piece it together piece by piece, or there's other ways where you can buy it all at once. But that's not the greatest either. So we'll get into that too. But now we're going to number 4 inverters. You have pure sine wave versus modified sine wave. Now, this is very, very, very important. We've talked about pure sine wave before, and we'll touch on it again in past videos, past lives where we talked about generators and solar generators. Pure sine wave, the pros are smooth, safe for electronics, motors, fridges. The cons are it's more expensive. The best use is for most Homestead devices. You can use it for pretty much anything. The pros for modified sine waves, of course, is cheaper. The cons are it can damage sensitive electronics, which laptops, cell phones. What are you doing, dog? He's goofy. Sorry, guys. He's over licking his cage, and he doesn't ever have food in there, so I don't know why he would be licking it. He's weird. But cell phones, laptops, TVs, computers, things like that, you need pure sine wave for because of the circuit boards in them. They'll damage them. So you got to be careful with that. Like I said, it can damage most sensitive electronics. It can only take simple loads like lights or heaters because they don't, the circuit board in them isn't as high tech. Like I said, tips are always use pure sine wave for fridges, laptops, microwaves, and pumps. Water pump, something, microwaves, water pumps, your fridge, your laptop. Those are things that you really want to, important to you. You know what I mean? Because you living off grid, you're going to have, water storage. You're going to need to move it from one place to another. So you got to get a water pump it out, pump it to here, move it to there. You don't want to blow it up. You know what I mean? You don't want to burn it up. That's money. You don't want to be wasting money. The whole point of moving to do this is to try to live cheaper. And yes, you'll see videos online where they say, "Oh, everybody thinks moving a homestead is so cheap and so easy." And no, it's not cheaper in the beginning. Like we've said a million times, you have to know going in. There's two things you have to know going in. You're going to work your ass off. Period. I don't care who you are or what you are. You're going to work hard.
Well, I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to open up your land so that you can get your structures on your land so that you can start running all this power that you need.
Even if you buy a homestead that's already set up, it's not your homestead. It's not set up the way you wanted it, So you're going to want to change things. You're going to want to modify things. You may buy something that, like the one YouTuber bought a cabin in Alaska. No water, no electricity. It was completely dry, no power, no nothing. But there was a cabin, you know what I mean? He knew he wanted to put water in there. He knew he wanted to put electricity in there, sewage.
He built his own bathroom and ran his own water.
Bringing in his own electricity through solar, like we're talking about now, things like that. So you're always gonna have to work hard. And someone said to me, we won't mention any names, but they know who they are. I'm not calling them out. I'm being funny, and so I hope they don't take this as me calling them out. But at my age, it's going to be hard to be out there digging and doing. But the problem is with a homestead, you do it at your own pace. So what if I only knock out,
two trees a day.
2 trees a day and maybe a one stump tomorrow. You know what I mean? Guess what? It's mine. I can do that. You know what I mean? It only goes as fast as you want it to go. And then as you go on and you do things, you're making progress every day. As long as you make some progress every day, then you're doing something. That's all that matters. All that matters is you put in the effort and the work that you want. And like I said, here you can't do that. I can't add on to my trailer. I can't go to the left, to the right, to the back, to the front. I'd have to spend $10,000 to move my trailer, buy land, spend $10,000, buy more land close by here, spend $10,000 to move this trailer, and do this anyway. Yeah, I have my trailer, but I still have no hookups. And even if there's hookups there, you still got to hook them in. You still got to clear land around you. You may, there may only be, you might buy 20 acres, but only, half an acre or 3/4 an acre is cleared. Maybe you want to do a little more than that. Maybe you want to make trails. Maybe you want to, make trails and then open up another spot where you can have another cabin or sheds or, things like that. It's going to take time and it's going to take effort, and that's okay. And it's going to cost money. It's going to cost money. But once you have these things, you can move forward, and that's the thing with it. You can move forward. Is your freedom not worth a little bit of money? That's how I see it. Is my son's happiness where he can have a pool and a trampoline and a couple dogs running around, and we can have pigs and goats, whatever. Eventually, all that he can have his little dirt jumps on his little e-bike.
I saw sheep today.
Oh, no sheep.
I saw sheep today. They were so cute.
Yeah, I know. You started on me yesterday about this whole goat thing because one of the channels we watch, Dos Acres, he has a goat. They have goats and 2 steers and guineas and chickens, but they're not. None of that is they use the guineas for the eggs, the chickens for eggs. The steers are just pets. They have 11 goats. They're all just pets. They're just pets. They're not, using them for anything other than pets. And they really truly love their pets. And
they do.
And the one, he's funny, Luigi. He's silly. They're funny. These goats know where to go when they're getting fed. They know because they feed out of the 11. They feed them separately. They feed like 2 or 3 over here, 2 or 3 over there, 2 or 3 here. And when they call them and say to go where they're supposed to go, they know where to go. They know which 3 are supposed to go here, which 3 are supposed to go there. It's crazy. But he's sick, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with him. So it's pretty rough on them. And that's another thing about, homesteading is going to be rough, is you're going to have, those issues where you're gonna lose animals and you're gonna have heartache. It's going to be hard because whether you're growing them for food or not, they're still alive. They still, they get attached to them. You know what I mean? So you have to know why you bought them and why you want them, and you should still treat them with respect and love the whole time. Whether in a year you're gonna take it to a processor and have that cow cut up as beef, you want that cow to live the best life possible, or pig or sheep, or you want that animal to live the best life possible while it's with you. That's not what you want. You want to live the best life possible while you're on this earth. I know I do. You know what I mean? And so you should treat your animals that way too. And he's real hurt. You know what I mean? He's sad that the animal's sick, and the vet can't figure out what's wrong with it, and they're probably going to end up losing it, I think, and it's sad. It's But back to solar here. I'm going to get through this real quick. So number 5 is safety: fuses, disconnects, wire gauge. Okay, you have inline fuses and breakers. You have to hook up to this. Okay, inline fuses and breakers, it protects wiring and components from overload. You place it every major segment, panels, controller, from the panels to the controller, from the controller to the batteries, from batteries to inverter. Disconnect switches let you safely service system. You just switch it off, just like you can with your, breaker box. You place between panels, controller, and between battery and inverter. Then you have your wire gauges. AWG is what their, acronym, I guess you would say. AWG is a guide for DC systems. You have your current and amps, a 10 amp, 20 amp, 30 amp, 40 amp. Okay, if you're going 10 foot and you use, you need 10 amps, then you use a 14 AWG. It's used for small loads and short runs. A 20 amp would be 10 AWG for medium loads. 30 amp would be 8 AWG with large loads. And then 40 amp go, Odin. 40 amp would be 6 AWG for high loads. Tips: always size for 100% of the expected current. Longer wire runs may require a larger wire to prevent voltage drop. So the longer the wire is, if you're going 30, 40, 50 feet, you're going to get voltage drop, which then you get less power, obviously. So you're going to have to go with a bigger gauge wire. And then we'll get into this is hybrid solar generator setups. Now, in a normal solar setup, you have your panels that run into your charge controller, that run into your inverter, that run to your battery. Okay, that's a cheap setup right there. That's as cheap as you can get it. But there's also hybrid. Okay, what they call hybrid, which is a box. It looks like a fuse box, where it already has a charge controller, already has the inverter in it, and all you do is wire batteries to it, and it tells you where to wire and how to wire. And so the hybrid solar setups, it combines solar with generator backup. You can use a generator to power the batteries. If you're saying like a cloudy day, you're not getting much sun, you can plug a generator into it, and it'll run through the charge controller to charge the batteries, which is kind of what we want. You know what I mean?
And there's different types, like you said, there's different types of wire gauges for different things that you need in your house. 14 gauge is used for 15 amp circuits, which is, your general outlets for, like your TV, your lights, your, I don't know, to charge things, your Xbox or PlayStation, whatever, Your 12 gauge is a 20 amp circuit, which is usually found in your kitchens and your bathrooms and your laundry rooms. You can also get with your 20 gauge or your 12 gauge, which is your 20 amp. Those are, you have circuits in your bathroom that they're called, I do believe it's, if I remember correctly, GFI.
Yeah, GFCI.
GFCI. They're ground force circuit breakers, basically. So say you have something plugged in like a hair dryer and it's running too much circuit through your plug, it'll automatically pop that plug and not pop your breaker in your breaker box. So, I mean, for your bathroom, your kitchen, even your laundry room, you would want something like that to, plug your stuff into. A 10 gauge is your 30 amp circuit. It's used for dryers. I mean, everybody's seen their dryer plug.
It's goofy looking.
It's goofy looking.
Or your stove.
An 8 gauge is for your 40 amp circuits, and then like a 6 gauge is a 55 amp circuits, which is usually technically used for electric stoves. Electric stoves give more power than electric dryers. So therefore, there's a different plug and a different amperage for those two things. But again, you have to know the difference in the gauges. Like, if you're wiring something, even your solar panels, to wire it to,
right.
Whatever.
Depending on how far away they need to go,
right.
Depending on the voltage drop. So the higher the gauge, the further you can travel with them, and it won't get a voltage drop, which is, that's good. I'm glad you read that. Hey, Chris, what's up? Doing some solar review, teaching a little bit of solar. Well, we're teaching it from what I was learning.
Hey, guys, real quick, Jackson, he drew on his pumpkin, and this is what his pumpkin's going to look like after I don't know if y'all can see it. That's the before product. It's kind of a little bright, but yeah, that's his before product. That's what he's going to cut out of his pumpkin.
Let's see if I can get it from my angle a little better.
Yeah, you might. Mine's a little off because of the light.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Which way to go? There. There's that one right there. The light.
Yeah, the light just shines right on that eyeball.
Yeah, that one eye.
Right, that one eye just doesn't want to.
Yeah, but he's drawing pumpkins for us. But he wants you guys to be involved.
But you also got to know, like, when you're buying your wire, you also got to know what, in each, you see the wire, it's covered in this white plastic, but inside that white plastic, sometimes, you have 3, 4, 5, 6 wires, and you got to know what those wires stand for. The black wire is your power wire. That is what's bringing your hot wire, which is what brings your power into your outlets, your, whatever you're plugging it into. You have your white wire, which is your neutral wire. Your green wire is your ground wire. But then sometimes you have red, you have blue, you have yellow, stuff like that. Your red wire is,
of course, Stephen. Jackson's a big part of our channel. We always want to, anything he's doing, we want to show him. If he can't be here, we want to talk about him.
It's often used to hardwire smoke. The red one is often used to wire smoke detectors. Your blue and yellow ones are hot wires. Inside your conduit. Your conduit is this big metal pipe that you run it through,
or plastic,
or PVC.
It could be PVC. I know back when you were in school, it was only metal.
It was only metal.
Yeah,
right?
Back in the 1900s, they didn't have PVC. I don't think.
Well, listen. I mean, I used an old-fashioned conduit bender and all that other stuff. So I mean, I know how to do that.
Well, all you got to do is with the PVC, it's heated up. Now you can bend it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Your ground wire, it comes in green or it comes bare. That your ground wire it provides the path of electricity to flow in an event of a fault, which is it would prevent you from getting shocked.
Get electrocuted, right? Because you don't want that.
You always, on all your electrical outlets, and I'm not telling everybody to go and remove an electrical outlet and look at it, but if you would remove, an
go
electrical,
for it. Well, we didn't recommend you did it.
You pull it, and you can see there's a black wire on one side, a white wire on the other side, and then there's either a green wire or a bare wire coming down from the bottom. One is the power going in, one is the power coming out. And the power, like when you're the power coming out, that runs, to you keep running it from outlet to outlet to outlet, but you have that power coming in. And, you know, like you said, the longer the wire, the more it has to travel. And, you know, so you have to make sure that you have the right gauge of wire when you're hooking all this stuff up. I mean, listen, it's been a very, very long time since I've been in high school, and I went through this. You know, I did electrical technology in school, so I mean, I know how to run outlets. I've even hooked up a breaker box, but it's been so long that to me it's scary because, you know, yeah, I don't forget it, but there are a lot of components to hooking up a breaker box. I mean, you have to run the power itself into your breaker box, you know, the power from the lines. And then you have all the lines coming into your breaker box for your outlets, your stove, your dryer, your washer, you know, things like that. It's just very, I would rather have an electrician come out, one who's been doing it for years, because to me, that's just scary.
Yeah, it can be. How is that? So used to just doing that that I forget. But okay, guys, we got one more thing to touch on, and then we'll be done with it. Well, we're not done with it, but we'll be past the major part of it. Practical examples for system planning. For instance, if you have LED lights for 50 watts, you run them for 5 hours, 250 watt hours a day. Laptop at 60 watts, 4 hours, you run it for, that's 240 watt hours a day. Mini fridge, 150 watts at 8 hours, that's 1,200 watt hours in a day. So total, you have 1,600 watt hours in a day, which that's just an example. So you would take your battery amp hour equals daily watt hours plus voltage plus the draw. So example would be 1,690 is your watt hour daily divided by 12. Where again 12 at your watt 12 volts. Excuse me, 12 volts divided by 0.05. That's your amperage equals 282 amp hours, which is rounded to 300 amp hours. So you could get 300 amp hour lead acid or 200 amp hour LiFePO₄ battery to run that little bit right there. And then the next thing is panel sizing. So for example, for 1,690 watt hours divided by 5 peak sun hours equals 338 watts. So you would use a 400 to 500 watt for buffer. So you get a 400 to 500 watt solar panels to bring. Now you get 100 watt, you get 200 watt, 250 watt, 180 watt. You know what I mean? Just as long as it equals, you know, between 400 and 500, it would run that load. The inverter sizing would be the total load of 400 watts, 1.5 times, you know, the 400 watts equals 600 watt inverter minimum. So that a 600 watt inverter would be more than enough to run that. I don't know what this dog is doing again. He's licking his cage. Is he like admiring it or something? He doesn't go in his cage very much, guys. So, you know, so it's like it's just weird because this room stays cold, so we keep the door closed, and we only use his cage when we're not home. And I think he misses his cage. He's over just licking all the bars, like, you know, admiring it or something. I don't know. He's goofy. Like I said, he's not all there in the head. But again, like I said, there's a cover sheet. There's a reference guide here. I pinned to the top comments. If you have any questions, you can go there. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment in comments after the video is over. You know, like I said, there's a lot to it. I have a lot more that I could talk about, but it's not, you know, no one likes hearing about it. I feel like you're in college and having that professor talk for 4 hours, lecturing, you know. But you know, it's a lot to learn. But the key thing is do your research. I shouldn't be tapping that because I'm on my camera. Right. Earthquake. You know what I mean?
Research is the key.
Research is always the key for everything, but this is big for research.
Like, you know, I mean, you have to know what you're doing in order to get what you need, what the correct things that you need.
And yes, I'm going to touch on something before we leave. And, you know, Trisha's going to get mad at me, and I'll probably get beat up after this live, but that's
probably will.
That's all right. Oh, you know, I can handle him. Big guy, you know what I mean? But people like her, she just said earlier, I'd rather have an electrician come and do it. Those are the people that this video is for. To show people that you can do it. And it's not as scary as you think. It's not like you're wiring, something that's 8 million watts and it'll kill you if you do it the wrong way. With all the reference guides that we have out here, my reference guide, with all the videos, with all the reference things that you can do now, solar setup for backup power, again, in case outages, or you want to offset electricity power or grid power, or you want to offset your bills, or you're off grid, whatever. It's not as hard as people think once you get into it. Again, it sounds like it doesn't sound like a lot. It is a lot. But once you just learn one little bit at a time, Don't try to, immerse yourself into all of it at once. Because I've learned to try to take one piece of it. I want to learn about charge controllers. And I'll take a week. Hell, I'm old. It takes me a lot to learn nowadays. It's old. There's not but air in there nowadays. You know what I mean? Goes in here and comes out here sometimes. You know what I mean? Especially when she's talking. You know what I mean?
No, he just shuts his ears off.
Did she say something? Did you hear them? I didn't hear you. Oh, okay. I didn't hear her, guys. I don't know if she said something wrong. But point being, we like to have fun. I like to pick on Trishy. Listen, like the post I posted on Facebook. I know a lot of you guys ain't on my Facebook, but that's all right. I posted, don't come to my house because my kids will roast you. You know what I mean? Or something to that effect on you.
Listen, oh, yeah, and Jackson definitely will.
And Jackson, back in the day, we had Jackson, you had Ian, you had Cheyenne, you had Dominic, you had Shane. Listen, every one of them, Carly, every one of them. Listen, every one of them kids will roast you. They'll roast you live. Jason, listen, that kid, listen, he back when he was younger, he wasn't good at it.
And you get them all together.
Oh boy, it's
game on.
Listen, it's like having comedy live at my house. No, not my kid, Cena. No, not my 8-year-old is probably the worst one. Well, our 8-year-old, you know how bad Jackson can be when he wants to talk crap on somebody and get them, get people going, and then he gets going with, you're a big back and you're a, all the other ones he says. That took my breath away. Oh, Jackson would roast people alive. Listen, him and on the holidays we get Dominic here and Ian and Jason and Carly and Cheyenne at times, sometimes all together, sometimes in spurts. But Jackson starts roasting him, they start roasting him, and it gets to be nuts. But one other thing, real quick, I want to touch on. Like I said, again, it's not as bad as people like Trish thinks. Don't let her scare you. There's people out there that think that this is, the scariest thing in the world, and it's not. It's actually pretty simple. A lot of, especially if you go with a hybrid system, it's all labeled what you're supposed to put where and what. Hell, you can go on to ChatGPT and say, I want to set up a system. I know you guys, a lot of people are against the AI. Now, I don't mind AI for knowledge, but I don't want AI working, taking our jobs. I get that, but I don't mind AI for knowledge because it'll search all of the internet and get all the knowledge you need right there, and it'll explain to you step by step what gauge wire you need, what size converter you need, what size charge controller you need. You tell it what you want to run, what you don't want to run, how many, and it gives you everything you need step by step. And then, like I said, a hybrid box, it has everything labeled to where you're supposed to put this cord here and this cord here and that cord there, and you know what I mean. All you do is unscrew it, put the cord in, screw it in. It's it's pretty. I don't want to say self-explanatory. I mean, it's not simple, but if you got any DIY skills, you can do it. Any DIY skills. And if you don't have any DIY skills, you shouldn't be going off grid to begin with. But that's neither here nor there. But the last thing I want to touch on real quick, as we touched on before, is solar generators. It's another way to do all of this in one would be a solar generator, a battery backup, whatever you want to call them, battery bank, whatever. A lot of people call them different things. You have your EcoFlows, your Blue Eddies, they're crazy prices, and the prices are going to be outrageous. They're outrageous for this because they're such like my son Ian used to always tell me, supply control, demand and control supply. You know what I mean? And then the more the demand, the higher the supply that goes up, the more the demand, the more the prices go up, which is true because you can spend hell $900,000 just on a 2,000 watt power bank when I can build a system for $1,200 when it cost me 2,000 for a solar generator. And the problem with a solar generator is they're not as efficient as this system will be. With a solar generator, they got to run the charge controller, which in here too, the inverter uses watts. You know what I mean? So you lose watts here and you lose watts there, and whatnot. But again, do your research, pin them together, see which one will work out better for you, see which one you think is easier. Me, for instance, I don't want 10,000 little battery banks running around to power my house. Oh, I gotta have this power bank over here for this appliance, this power bank over here for this appliance, when I can just do this quick and simple, a lot cheaper, and bring it all in. Can you just talk about get rid of stuff, because I'm gonna start calling my pumpkin. So just talk about random stuff because I want to show my pumpkin on live. Oh, Jackson, can we talk about random stuff because he wants to show his pumpkin on live?
Well,
even if we don't show it on the live, buddy, I'll post it as a comment. I'll put it in the comments where everybody can see it. If we would get off before you get it on there, okay, buddy? Don't worry about it. I'll make sure everybody gets to see it. He's silly, but like I said, real quick, solar generators are nice for if you're just going camping or a quick RV trip. But they burn up a lot. The efficiency is not there, so it takes a lot to run it. And then you got to power it back up. With this, you know what I mean? I can run a generator to power it back up, and charges my battery, and battery lasts a lot longer. I can use a generator to charge one of them up too. Don't get me wrong, but again, the efficiency is lacking. You know what I mean? And you get close to the efficiency you're going to get with this. I'm not going to lie, but you lose in money when it comes down to money. We looked them up. I mean, they're ridiculous. We thought about when we first started talking about wanting to go off grid and do solar. Like I said, we did the generator live. I wanted to do. We were going to do just solar generators, and we were just going to run those until I started to look more into it and do more research and get it all put together to where I realized, it wasn't possible to do that. It was going to cost umpteen amounts of money to run those. You know what I mean? And then the power to run a generator to power them all back up.
But with your generators too, or your especially like your solar powered one and what have you, you need power to charge them.
Right. Like like you can put in solar panels, but if you're not getting enough, then you have to run a generator anyway, which you may be needing for something else. And you can only have so many outlets on. They can only accept so much solar. Same with all this, but like I said, the key point is research. Some of it, some of them can only accept 200-300 watts of solar. Some can accept up to 1,000. You can be $5,000-$6,000 into battery banks, or you can be $10,000 into solar generators, and get the same thing. But for me, this is going to be the easiest way. And you guys will see. I'll video it all once we move, and we'll video the ride there. And this will be one of the first things we set up. Obviously, you know what I mean. We're working on getting all the components put together now. Like I said, I think we're going to run a 24-volt system, because that 24-volt will run mostly what we a DC fridge, a freezer, lights, fans, laptops, TVs, routers. Zach will probably have his Xbox, that, what I mean? Charging iPads, that's what it's going to be, sucking up most of our phones, sucking up most of our juice.
Right.
Because we have, we have our big propane stove. I want to get a propane griddle. I'm not sure we're going to work on that yet or not. When we'll work on that, but we probably will.
I mean, I've got a lot of electrical gadgets. I have a pizza maker. I have a crock pot, an air fryer, our coffee pot,
right, and they all are all high demand items
an Instapot
that you couldn't run on a 12-volt system.
Right.
So we have to go to a 24-volt system. And you can buy 24-volt batteries, or you can take 2x2 12-volt batteries for like 150, 160, between 150 and $200. You can buy two 12 volts and wire them in parallel together to create a 24-volt system.
I mean, either way, you need power. I mean, listen, you can live off grid without power. You don't,
Right. It is possible. But
it is possible, but, phone wise, you need to charge your phone in order to do our lives and download and edit and all that stuff on here.
Upload.
Upload. You need power for that, to charge the laptop, to the iPad, the phone. I mean, but you don't need to have, yes, eventually we're going to have a tiny house and we're going to need power and we're going to have power. But until we do, this is what's going to get us from there to there.
And when we get into the tiny house, we can move up from a 24-volt to a 48-volt and run it right into a circuit panel box, just like you do at home, just like you have in your house right now. And that solar will run that circuit panel box. So I turn the circuits on. As long as them batteries have power, I can go right into my regular outlet, just like you do now, plug my stuff in, and it'll suck the power right from the battery bank, and the solar recharge it. But I can recharge it with, if I'm not getting enough solar, I can recharge it with the generator. I run a generator for a half hour and charge up my batteries, and we can go from there. And hopefully by then we're one of these big YouTubers. You get all these big sponsored battery, these server rack batteries, $2,000 batteries. I like a couple of those. Hey, for all y'all watching out there that want to promote us, give us some server rack batteries and EcoFlows and all the power stations everybody's getting. Bro, like I would talk about, I'm not even gonna ramble on about that. That's crazy. All these $3,000-$4,000 power stations people are sponsored with. We're not here for that. I mean, if we would get sponsored, that's cool, whatever, but that's not what we're here for. We're here
to show you the journey of what it takes, the truth of what it takes to live off grid, to go to get ready to go live off grid. I mean, that's the truth behind everything that you see out there on YouTube that, people say it's easy. Listen, ain't nothing about life easy, because if it was, everybody would have everything they've ever wanted.
All these kids, right? But like I said, when you do that, like we build our house or our shed to house conversion, which what it'll be basically. You can run it right into a circuit breaker, and it'll run plugs the same way you run them now. Obviously, we'll have a bigger setup, and we'll be pulling a lot more voltage. We don't use a lot of power, honestly. You know what I mean? We don't need nothing above maybe 5 kilowatts, 5,000 watts, 6,000 watts. That'll last us. We could go without any solar on a 5 kilowatt system, some 5 kilowatt batteries, and that would last us 3-4 days. You know what I mean? Outside of the coffee pot and the air fryer and all that, we weren't using that. We also have ways of where we're going to go around some of those things. I want to get a propane griddle with a propane stove. They have a propane air fryer we're looking into.
I mean, they have, for coffee, the cups that have the little drain system. You put your coffee grounds on top,
right,
dump the water in.
Right here, right now. Give me 2 seconds.
I mean,
I did order it, yeah. You know what that is, so hold on. Where's that? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Okay, so like people that make coffee at home or whatnot, what this is the top piece is it's a mesh basket. You put your coffee grounds in there, you put that down in your cup, and you pour hot water over it, and it drips right into your cup just like your coffee pot does. Cost me $20. And you get the steel mug too. The steel mug comes with it. You get the mesh basket that all you do is wash it out, and the basket holder, and the steel mug with a lid. It keeps it hot. I think what size is that? 16-ounce steel motor for $20 on Amazon, $22.99 on Amazon. You can't beat that. So if you're low on power, you're not getting a lot of solar, you can do that. You want to show it? Or you want me to show it?
I'll show it.
I'll show it. We'll show it together. How's that going?
Okay, yeah, it's the same picture.
Jackson and his pumpkin, guys. You want everybody to see his pumpkin. So everybody that watches this later, Jackson's going to see your pumpkin. I'm going to do.
Mine's not showing up as good as yours does.
Because my phone's a little brighter than yours.
Yeah.
But, as you guys know, everybody that's been here from the start, all the kids, all the family, new people, Jackson is a very big part of our channel. Hell, he's probably the reason we started this channel. A lot of the reasons we're going off grid.
Go back and watch the videos. A lot of videos have Jackson in them.
Yeah, they will again here soon, believe me. It's just with school and everything, he doesn't have a chance to get into them as much as he used to. Listen, that kid's like a professional when it comes to doing these things. He's the one that helped me learn how to do it outside of other things. But all right, guys, you got to see Jackson's pumpkin. We got to talk about all the crazy things we're doing. We've been doing a lot actually, but there's a lot more things we can talk about next time. We got to save it all because we're gonna have something to talk about on Monday.
I mean, maybe next time we'll pull out the. Maybe we can pull out the little solar generator thing, or is that a solar generator?
The little one. The Opus, yeah, the Opus.
Yeah,
Extras.
maybe next time we'll pull that out and we'll talk about that, or what have you. We did do a video on it. I mean, it's not very long, so maybe we can pull it out and
we did a
talk
video
about it again
3 months ago when we first started.
Maybe show you guys what it can power and what have you. I mean, talk about that. I mean, we'll have to sit down and we'll have to talk about what we're gonna do.
We can talk
Monday.
about what we're going shopping for this week.
Yeah.
On Monday or
on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Well, maybe Monday because a lot of stores around here close at 5:00 on Sunday still.
Well, not places we're going.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, we're going places like Harbor Freight.
I mean, I'm old school. Back then, back when I was younger, things closed at 5:00 on Sundays because.
Yeah, nothing closed at 5:00.
Yeah.
On Sundays. But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Again, Where the Country Called Us. Again, reference a lot of videos. Again, I'll drop that link for the beginners off-grid power reference guide down in the description. It's in the pinned comments here, but if you didn't see it live, it'll be down in the description. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Again, we're on this road to homestead and off-grid living and big balling. No, we ain't big balling.
We ain't big balling.
We're little balling on a budget.
Right.
So that's what we want to show everybody. But all right, guys, peace out.
Have a nice day.
All right, Jackson, that's his words. We used it.